Celebrating in the streets of Mexican cities today. They never ever thought that there'd be a reversal like this, a reversal of fortune like this. But my friends, I got to tell you, you better mark this day down. The day is the 9th of January, 2018. It looks to me like Trump has been rolled. He's calling for an immigration reform bill called a Bill of Love, with comprehensive changes that have long eluded Congress, which means the Gang of Eight, which means Lindsey Graham, John McCain's bill, on steroids. Trump suggests two-phase immigration deal for dreamers. He met with Republican and Democrat lawmakers, if you can call a Democrat a lawmaker, seeking a solution for millions of young people. I love the word young people. Some of them are in their 30s, who were brought to the U.S. illegally. And last year, Trump ended the Obama-era DACA program, which protected more than 4 million people from deportation. The official figure is 700,000. That's like saying there are 11 million immigrants here when we know it's closer to 45 million. So they keep using a lying figure put up by the Pew Research Center, and the word Pew is apt, but it's spelled wrong. But 700,000 people from deportation gave them the right to work legally. Now, the fact of the matter is, this president, Donald Trump, I consider him a friend of mine, but I got to tell you this. If this happens, this is the end of the road for the Republican Party for 100 years. If DACA is passed, we, the American people who voted for Trump, will be like those left stranded on the beaches of Dunkirk. It will be all over. I was going to begin today's show by referring to my use of the phrase compassionate conservatism in 1994, which was picked up and run with by the Bush administration. And I was going to try and argue that we need a form of compassionate conservatism, which we do. I was going to talk about being conservative and compassionate towards the earth, towards animals, which I will. But when I wake up, when I get to the show and I see everything's changed in less than a 2-hour period, and is going against everything the Freedom Caucus stands for, everything that we, the voters, stand for, everything that the American election was about, I have to say to you, something is wrong. Something is very wrong in Washington, D.C. Trump suggests two-phase immigration deal for dreamers. Boy, do I hate the word dreamers. You see, I hate it for one reason. Because our Native American people, and I don't mean Indians, I mean Native American people, that means people who live here, natively live here, meaning people who live here, young people have dreams too. So what, they have to go to the back of the bus so Mexicans, El Salvadorans, Nicaraguans, and others can get ahead of them on the bus here in America? Young immigrants. Doesn't the word young ring so optimistic? I love when they say young people, like we have no young people. They can only be young people if they come from south of the border. House Republicans said they plan to introduce legislation to address border security and the young immigrants. Notice the word young, always young. Trump said it should be a bill of love. I don't know what that means. What do you mean a bill of love? What is that? It's like a fun house at a carnival. What is a bill of love? Conservatives quickly sounded alarms about a process that would lead to a comprehensive agreement on immigration, a path that has long been anathema to many rank-and-file Republicans. No kidding. When you hear the word comprehensive immigration reform, it's Mitt Romney, it's Lindsey Graham, it's John McCain. So what's the difference if Trump passes it? It's a better form of comprehensive immigration reform? Well, I don't think so, and I don't think that the leader of the hard-right House Freedom Caucus, Mark Meadows, RNC, disagrees with me. He said he opposes it. He said generally opposed to a two-step process because history would indicate that the second step never happens. Meaning what the malarkey we're going to hear is that once we grant amnesty to the 4 million illegal aliens who are considered young people, we'll be lied to and told we're going to get a border wall. We'll never get the border wall. Nothing. It's upside down. The border wall should come first, and then there should be a discussion of DACA. But instead, it looks to me like it's all over. I'm telling you again, and mark my words, DACA will lead to a federal Tammany Hall for the next 70 to 100 years. In 1995, you see, I, Michael Savage, released a book entitled Compassionate Conservative Speaks, The Savage Nation. It became a raging New York Times bestseller. That's when you first heard that term, long before George W. Bush ran on it. I told you what a compassionate conservative was, and it is not what was represented by Bush. It's not what's going on right now in this administration. You see, President Trump is now pushing the Repubs and Dems to come up with a deal on DACA that will basically give these so-called dreamers amnesty in a supposed exchange for a wall and border security. He says he'll sign whatever they come up with because they're smart people. That includes Nancy Pelosi. She's a smart person. Well, my friends of the Savage Nation, if this should happen, this will lead to a federal Tammany Hall for the next 70 to 100 years. Tammany Hall was a Democratic Party political machine that controlled New York City and New York State politics by helping immigrants, mostly the Irish, rise up in politics and create a loyal core that would do anything this political machine wanted. It was strongest in the mid-1800s under William M. Boss Tweed. You may have heard the word Boss Tweed. It was strongest under Boss Tweed and has served as an engine for graft and political corruption. Tammany Hall influenced everything from the mayor to the governor to U.S. state senators. Not much different today. And it was not defeated until FDR used the federal government as his own bludgeoning socialist machine and was able to expose Tammany Hall's corruption and mortally weaken it. It's very interesting. This deal that is being proposed by Trump with the so-called dreamers will create another political machine as immigrants will once again be propped up by a political class and form a voting bloc that will put Democrats in office for the rest of your lives. You can kiss the power in your states and cities goodbye because every decision will be made at the federal level and your freedom will be limited in ways you could never imagine. I'm Michael Savage, and I approve of my monologue. Trump suggests two-phase immigration deal for dreamers. Can you believe this? Trump said today, I think my positions are going to be what the people in this room come up with. Can you believe this? He said, I'm very much reliant upon the people in this room. That means Democrats like Steny Hoyer, Nancy Pelosi, are now advising the president on immigration. This is even going to get sicker if you're ready to really throw your guts up. Trump at one point today suggested bringing back earmarks or money for pet projects requested by so-called lawmakers as a way to bring the two parties together and avoid divisions. Do you remember what we said about earmarks during the years that they were being used? Do you remember how we roundly condemned earmarks? Do you know what they mean? It's called pork barrel spending. That's what I learned it was called in high school a number of decades ago. Pork barrel spending, now called earmarks. Now Trump, the fiscal conservative, wants pork barrel spending in order to bribe the Democrats to go along with him? The president said he would insist on construction of a border wall as part of an agreement involving young immigrants. Young immigrants. Every time you hear the word young, you know they're lying to you. So that's the opening to the show. There's a lot more I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about why Oprah is absolutely not going to win if she runs, and what her power base is and what it isn't, and why she can't win, and why we're never going to have another celebrity president, ever. Never. I don't care who it is. It's never going to happen again. When Oprah said, as I played on this show yesterday, that racists have to die for racism to end, as I played for you yesterday, and I posted that soundbite up on michaelsavage.com for the world to hear. That one soundbite alone will be used against her should she decide to put her neck into the pillory of the political universe. Because she's going to have to explain what she means by they just have to die. We'll play that a little later.